Okay, so we're going to look at how to make a multiple choice test in Blackboard. The first thing I want to do is go to whatever designation I want to house that exam under. So I'm in the E community. I'm just going to pretend that professional development, that tab is where I want to put a test. All right, so when we go into that, of course, there's other stuff here. We're not going to worry about that for the moment. Let's pretend I want to put a test in here for students to do. Maybe I want them to do some reading, and that's these things right here, and somewhere in here I want to test. So I'm going to go to assessments. Notice as I hover over assessments, one of the options is test, and I'm going to choose that. And it goes to this screen that says create test. So we're going to create a new test. So I'm just going to hit create. And we're going to name it. I'm just going to call this our exam play, just so I know that that's not a real exam we're making. And I can describe it if I want to, and then put instructions for the students. And I'm just going to do blah, blah, blah. Okay, telling my students what to do here. All right, then over here on the right, and let me move my little window so you can see it. I do have to hit the submit button. So we'll hit submit. All right, now we're in the test canvas where we can start creating questions. All right, so I'm going to go right here where it says create question. And as soon as I hover on create question, all these choices arise. I can do a calculated formula, a new calculated numeric, an either or, an essay question, file response, all kinds of questions. But we're going to choose multiple choice. So let's go down here to multiple choice, and we'll click on that. And notice a canvas pops up for a multiple choice question. Now I can give it a title. I don't like to give my questions titles. I just go to the question text and type the question. So maybe I want to know what is the square root of 4? Really easy question there. And then down below, I'm going to put my answers. Now notice that it's naturally got the correct answer as answer 1, but we can change that. So let's put square root of 4 is 3. That's not correct. But I'm going to change this one to the correct answer. I'll say 2. And notice that it gives you naturally 4 blanks for you to put possibilities into. And 6. Okay, you can also remove. If you only want 3, you could remove one of these by pressing that over there. Or if you want to add another choice, you can change the number of answers right here to whatever you want. Okay. All right, so once we've got our answers in there, we can also give them feedback. If they get the correct response, we could say good, or if they have the incorrect response after they answer it, we can actually tell them the answer is 2. Okay. And then once that's done, we can either just hit submit if we're done writing questions, or if we hit submit and create another, it opens up another blank question for us, and we can write our next multiple choice question and put it in there. And we can keep doing that until we have a full test. All right, so let's pretend with this one question that we have a full test. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Oh, sorry, let's just cancel this one. All right, so now I have my full test with my one multiple choice question. All right, once we have that full test there, we can hit OK here at the bottom. All right, and now we want to add the test. So notice exam play is now in my list of the tests that I have created. I'm just going to hit submit down here. And it's going to open up for me now the test options. All right, so For the options, I can first choose what color I want this name to be. Maybe I want it to be a pink display name or something like that. Hit apply. Now it's going to show that name in pink. My test instructions are there, blah, blah, blah. I want to show those instructions to the students before they begin the test, and it's often wise to open the test in a new window. I, of course, want to make the link available. Now I'm going to put no right now because I really don't want this test to show up in the e-community. I could also add a new announcement for the test if I wanted to, letting the students know that it's available. I can allow multiple attempts. If I leave that unchecked, they just have the one attempt. I could also, if I allow multiple attempts, let's say I allow them 3 attempts on a test, then I can choose to score the attempts using their last graded attempts, their highest grade, or the average of all those graded attempts, whatever I want to do there. Now I'm just going to click that off though. I do with a test want to force completion. That is, they've got to do it within one sitting. They can't just keep coming back to it. And usually I set a timer on my test, and that depends on what you want. If you want an hour test, a 90-minute test, whatever it might be. All right. And usually I don't allow them to continue after the time expires. So we want this on, this auto submit, that when the time expires, they're finished. They can't do any more. Now we can choose to display this test for just a given amount of time by choosing when it opens and when it closes. I usually have my test available because my students can work ahead. All right. If it's a proctored exam, we definitely want to put a password, and we would just click that box and put whatever that password might be right there. And I don't suggest the word password. I'm just putting that there for now. But proctored exams definitely need a password. Now, usually, we're not going to have a password for a normal exam, so I'll just leave that off. And then if you have a student who needs extra time or whatever it might be, you can click Add User or Group. Now this takes me to all of the people that are in the e-community right now. So I can choose any of those people. And of course, I'm not violating FERPA here because this is us instead of a student. And over on the left, let me move this box a little bit. You'll see that I can choose anybody. I could choose right here. And then over on the right, once I've chosen them, I'll hit submit. And I can give them a single attempt, multiple attempts. I can change the amount of time they have. So if somebody has double time, I could change this to 180, whatever it might be, on those special options. Okay, the exceptions for people who have some sort of extra time or whatever it might be. And then obviously a due date is important. Right now I'm just going to leave it as today because this is not a real test. And I always click do not allow students to start the test if the due date has passed. They're not allowed to take the test. I don't know why you would give a test and not include it in Grade Center score calculations, although I have given them practice tests, and that may be one where you don't want it included in the Grade Center. And a practice test, you might want to hide the results from both you and the Grade Center. And then for showing test results to students, usually I have after they submit it, but you might decide on one of these other options. And then test presentation, you can decide whether you want to show it all at once or one at a time. I like to do one question at a time so as not to overwhelm them. And I randomize the questions so that someone is not taking, if they're taking a test side by side, they're not looking at the same question together. And then hit submit, of course. Now, I believe I didn't make my test available, but it should, oh, I did, okay. I didn't. Yeah, the item is not available, but here it is. Now, recognize if you don't want it here at the bottom, maybe I want this test to be right there after diversity and inclusion in the classroom. And I just drag it up and drop it, and it's in the place where I want. Now, this one's not available at any time. If I want to make it available, I can go in here, edit the test options, and of course, go down here and make the link available and click submit. And that's really all there is to making a multiple choice test. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.